Hi, I'm Peter Knight from Golf Possibilities. And what I want to talk to you about is a little about the coaching process that I go through when I'm with a client. The first thing I'll do is I'll watch their ball flight and then determine what's happening at impact, what's happening with the club face and what's happening with the path of the club that actually causes that ball flight. And then I'm going to ask myself a series of why questions. Why does the club swing on that particular path, or why is the club face like it is? What is it in the swing? And more often than not, the underlying cause comes back to something to do with how they're set up, whether it be their grip, stance or posture. So what I want to talk about today is a little bit about posture. What are some of the checks that you can do to ensure that you've got good posture? When you swing the club, you need to be tilted forward from the hips so that you can reach the ball, and that's going to help set the path that the club can swing on and how you're going to allow your body to move. So let's have a look at some of the ways you can do that. First of all, if we're looking at the down the line view, and you can check this in a mirror or a window or some other reflection, is when I'm setting myself up, if I take my grip, one of the first errors that we see is that players, because the arms are in front of the body, the shoulders tend to get a little bit rounded. So when I'm setting myself up, I'm conscious that my shoulders are back and down. So it feels like my shoulder blades are actually sitting flat against my spine. They won't do that exactly, just simply because my hands are in front of my body, but it's a whole lot better than having my shoulders up or rounded. Once I've got myself set there, I notice that my upper arms are actually more against the side of my chest or the side of my ribs there, just with a very light contact. Then from there, when I tilt forward, I'm going to tilt forward from the hip joints, which is here, as opposed to my waist. So I'm going to tilt forward from the hip joints with my back nice and flat, and then I'm going to just unlock my knees. So a checkpoint that I've got, if I look in a mirror, is that a line from the back of my shoulder runs straight down through the front of my knee and through to about the middle or the end of my laces there on my shoes, the middle of my shoes. So when I'm set up there, my balance is even on both feet, and it's also even forward and back. So it feels like it's in the middle of my foot. So my foot is nice and flat. A lot of players tend to get quite rounded in their posture, and others will actually arch their back with the intention of keeping it straight. So just stand up straight, shoulders back and down, tilt forward from the hips, and then just unlock at the knees. From a front view, when I'm setting myself up, I'm going to set myself up so that my upper body is tilted very slightly away from the targeted address. If I hold this club against my left eye, you can see that my left eye is actually on the center line of my body, and that's my measure, that's my check. As far as my lower body is concerned, I'm looking to get my hips, knees and ankles in line. So a lot of players, when they set themselves up, in the mistaken belief that if they held their knees together, they're actually going to become more stable. They actually become less stable. So at address, my hip, my knee and my ankle are in line. Now for a lot of players, that's always going to feel like the knees are being rotated out very, very slightly. It almost feels like you've just got off riding a horse or something like that. But it will actually give you far greater stability and keep your feet nice and flat on the ground. The other thing that I'm going to do is that when I've got my legs set correctly, my kneecap is not pointed forwards, it's pointed out very slightly. And what I've done is I've turned my toes out just enough so that my foot and my kneecap are in line. They're not in line there, and they're not in line there. So my knee and my foot are in line. So that will give me the greatest stability. So when I set myself up, I'm looking to create a nice solid stance at address, and then from there I'm going to give myself the best chance of hitting a good shot.